2022. Big year, am I right? It saw the release of a plethora of new IPs, as well as sequels to existing ones such as Horizon Forbidden West, Scorn, Stray, God of War, Gotham Knights, and the list just goes on. To say that it was packed with big releases would be a massive understatement. But we're not here for just that today. We're here because there were quite a few happenings in the industry that took everyone by surprise. So join us now as we go through some of the biggest gaming moments of 2022. First up, the Stray release. Futuristic cyberpunk settings have always had a theme of excessive urbanization, and who would be in a perfect position to benefit from that? Cats, of course. They would actually thrive in environments like these, displaying their full athletic prowess and flexible bodies as they leap from one building to another. And have you ever wondered what it would be like to explore said cyberpunk environments as a cat? Exploring every nook and cranny of a dense, multi-layered metropolis? Well, you could get your answers last year with the release of Stray. First announced in 2020, Stray quickly became one of the most highly anticipated indie titles ever, and began topping wishlist charts even before release. Developed by a small team of passionate devs, the game promised to let us finally experience the one thing every gamer has always wanted. What if I could experience Blade Runner through the eyes of an adorable feline? Upon release, it garnered positive reviews and was showered with adoration. It quickly became Annapurna Interactive's most concurrently played game on Steam with over 62,000 players. On top of that, the publisher also partnered with several charities to raise money for homeless cats, which won everybody over even more. Suffice it to say, it was a pretty big and notable release. Now, Stray wasn't the only big release in 2022. Another title that had a great and overwhelming launch was FromSoft's Elden Ring. The Souls series of games started out as very niche, but over the years their status in the industry has been growing at a massive pace, and after Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, and Sekiro in particular brought in massive audiences, the studio was in the perfect position to release a big new title. As such, Elden Ring became a hotly anticipated title soon after its first announcement in 2019, even though actual details remained sparse until the release of another trailer in 2021. Over time, more tidbits were revealed that only fueled the fervor, such as the game's open-world setting, the involvement of George R.R. Martin, and a return to the classic Souls-style gameplay formula. And upon release, the game was showered with critical acclaim and quickly started being referred to as one of the greatest games ever made by both fans and critics alike. Within a week of release, it had almost 1 million concurrent players on Steam, and it went on to sell more than 13.4 million copies within its first 5 weeks of release, and it beat Dark Souls 3 to become Bandai Namco's fastest-selling game of all time. This is more than enough to warrant its status as one of 2022's biggest moments in gaming. Now, due to a vulnerability, Bandai Namco's E3 2019 lineup was leaked online, but this was nothing compared to the Rockstar leak that shook the industry to its very core. In the early hours of September 18, 2022, something completely baffling happened. 90+ clips of an early build of Grand Theft Auto 6 leaked online, amounting to well over 50 minutes of footage. These clips not only reveal the main protagonist of the upcoming release, but also new mechanics and that the setting would once again be Vice City. What's more is that the hacker claimed to be in possession of GTA 5 source code and threatened to leak it. He was also considering negotiating a deal with Rockstar, and we later learned that he was actually a 17-year-old teenager from London who was allegedly part of a larger group named Lapsus. The hacker was also tied to an Uber hack that had taken place in a somewhat similar fashion, as well as some other attacks against corporations such as Electronic Arts and Samsung. Rockstar also started to focus a little bit more on security after this breach and even announced that it was seemingly unaffected by the hack. Despite this, it was a surprising piece of news considering how notoriously secretive Rockstar is regarding its new games. Although the Rockstar hack was quite the thing for the second half of 2022, there was another announcement that took gamers and the whole industry by surprise at the beginning of the year. On January 18, 2022, Microsoft announced its plans to buy Activision Blizzard, and unlike many of its previous acquisitions, this one is in a class of its own. Activision Blizzard is not a small name in gaming. It's the owner of several high revenue generating IPs that are household names. Some of these are the Call of Duty franchise, Overwatch, Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo, and many other IPs that the publisher has not focused on. Many of these games have been an important and influential part of gaming culture for a very long time, and Microsoft seeks to own them all. This purchase would vastly strengthen Xbox's position in the gaming industry and make it a much bigger player than it already is. If approved, the buyout will indubitably have multifaceted effects on the gaming industry, and it will be the largest acquisition in video game history. And due to the size of the purchase, the deal is even being reviewed by several government commerce bodies for antitrust concerns, but as of yet, the acquisition is not complete and must overcome several hurdles, but its proposal alone is enough to call it one of the biggest moments of gaming in 2022. Big launches were not the only thing that happened this year. Some things also got permanently shut down, and one of the surprising candidates for this treatment was none other than Google Stadia. Back when OnLive came out so many years ago, cloud gaming was thought of as the new vanguard of gaming. But it became clear within a few years that there was still much to do if this was to become the promising future technology that people thought it would be. Because while the tech truly is fascinating, it has been the subject of questionably greedy business practices and not enough innovation that would help its growth. The cloud gaming platforms we do have are controlled by corporations that are more focused on its profitability than actual sustainability and usability.
So due to corporate greed, cloud gaming seems like it will be killed off before it even has a chance to flourish. Part of me is happy about this because I'd rather have the games on my computer or my console. And after using GeForce Now and really enjoying the experience, part of me is disappointed as well.
So when Stadia launched in 2019, it showed some genuine promise, but yet again, it was hounded by questionable business practices. Rather than an actual service, it was half-heartedly aiming towards becoming a platform instead, with supposed exclusive games early in development, of which only 5 were ever released. It never managed to attract a massive audience, and as such, it was no shock when it was announced that it would be shutting down on January 18, 2023. Just a bit over 3 years after its initial launch. While Microsoft's looming assimilation of Activision Blizzard may be the biggest acquisition of this year, there is another one that actually delighted gamers worldwide. The Embracer Group has been embracing studios left and right for a few years now, and has managed to build up quite the catalog. It now owns several influential studios like Gearbox, Volition, Asper, 3D Realms, and many more. This year, it also acquired what was formerly the European arm of Square Enix, called Square Enix Europe. The deal was completed in August, and with it, the Embracer Group became the owner of 3 studios spread over 8 global locations. Not only that, but it became the owner of cult classic and influential franchises such as Tomb Raider, Legacy of Kain, Deus Ex, and multiple others. What's even more amazing is that the deal only cost $300 million. And considering the appeal and audiences these games have, many would consider this deal an absolute steal for the Embracer Group. No wonder the acquisition got a positive response, considering how wary many gamers have grown of Square Enix's questionable business practices and the quality of games they have been producing. Another bit of gaming industry news that got a very positive response in 2022 was the announcement that PlayStation would be focusing more on the PC market and releasing games for the platform regularly. The company has already released many titles such as Days Gone, Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, and Marvel's Spider-Man on Steam, but there are still so many exclusives that PC players still want, such as The Last of Us, Ratchet & Clank, the Uncharted series, Ghost of Tsushima, and so many more. I think we were all hoping that Sony would start porting games more regularly, and after this announcement, it became clear that PC was, in fact, a part of Sony's strategy going forward. It was stated by PlayStation head Herman Hulst in an interview that live service games by PlayStation will be day and date with PC and console. With that statement in mind, one only has to wonder what the company has in mind now that it owns Bungie, the studio behind one of the biggest live service games in the world. The Game Awards 2022 was filled to the brim with some amazing moments, from the appearance of industry legends Ken and Roberta Williams to Hazir's performance of Blood Upon the Snow. There was no shortage of fantastic moments. Elden Ring winning the award for Game of the Year could have been one of those moments as well, but it was overshadowed by something very unexpected and, quite frankly, very funny. After Hidetaka Miyazaki finished his speech upon receiving the award, an unknown teenager who had been standing behind the Elden Ring team came forward and said the following.
Hey, Matan. You know, real quick, I want to thank everybody and say that I think I want to nominate this award to my Reformed Orthodox Rabbi Bill Clinton. Thank you, everybody.
After this, the individual was removed from the stage and later arrested as announced by the Game Awards' Jeff Keighley. The night should have been Elden Ring's and its team's, but it was thus stolen in a hilarious turn of events and spread on the internet like wildfire. So here were some of the biggest moments of 2022. There are so many more that we couldn't get to here because this was a year of incredible highs and some absolutely staggering lows. And if there's one thing that we can take from it, it's that the games industry can still manage to surprise us in more ways than one. And as we begin a new year, I cannot wait to see what we've got in store over the next 12 months. Thank you for tuning into the channel, and we'll catch you in our next video.